All right, guys, we are finally here. The SoCal Summit, World Summit. Bah! All right, so the topic of this first meeting, we've already had 100 meetings, but amongst ourselves. But anyway, the first official topic is going your own way. So I'm going to pass it over.
Hey guys, I'm Rhett. I've been following the channel for over a year now, and this is my first summit, and it's just been totally awesome to meet everyone. It's been a great experience, just being together in the same space, sharing stories and stuff. It's been meaningful, and for my personal background, I came to MGTOW and this channel through a divorce. Like probably a lot of people listening, a really nasty divorce, which pretty much, in many ways destroyed me, and I had to rebuild myself from the ground up, which in retrospect I consider a blessing that happened to me, because I'm now a stronger person with a new perspective on life. But part of that divorce thing came with me having a kid that was taken away from me. So now I'm kind of like struggling with, I want to be blackmailable, and yet I have something that's so meaningful to me that I'm being blackmailed by the government, by the courts, through my emotions. Like I could walk away, but I love my kid so much that I don't. So I'm struggling with like how to be less blackmailable, or how to accept the situation, just how to move forward as someone who wants to be MGTOW and they got a kid. That's where I'm at.
Fuck. I'm Hayden. I am here because I got a lot going on. I came a long way to be here, and it's important to me to be here. I want to figure out exactly, like there's a lot, like I want to work on my body, I want to work on food, I want to learn everything, like right now. So I know that's not possible, obviously. I want to be better with women. I want to be better at money. I want to be better. I've got a kid too. I went through a divorce. My divorce, listening to the guys that have been here, it's like, holy shit, my divorce wasn't that bad. Like, fuck, I only have to pay, like, that much? Damn. Like, holy fuck. So it's, like, nuts. The woman's still crazy. She's so crazy. But it's not as bad as it could be. So I'm coming to terms with that as well. I did the millennial marriage of 14 months. And then she left me because she was bored. And I said I didn't want an open relationship. So I said no like 4 years too late. Because I did everything for her. I gave her everything. I gave my daughter everything. I went to work. I've moved up in the world, got the promotion, got the job, got the money, got the shit, got the white picket fence house, everything. And then not enough. So yeah, my life in marriage was wake up 5 in the morning, go to work, come home, get nagged at, do some shit around the house I didn't want to do, try and drink a beer, pass out in the chair, wake up 5 o'clock in the morning, do it again, and then work overtime. So it was miserable. So the finally coming to like the red pill was like crazy. It like opened my eyes in like a really meaningful way. And then finally being at a summit, like holy shit, I just wanted to come to every summit up to this one, because it's been like, but I couldn't because I was locked down because I just separated. So yeah, I got a bunch.
What's up? I'm Rhino. I guess I'm here because I'm just lucky I didn't get married and have a kid right now. It's like, just lucky it hasn't happened. I got close several times over the last decade, and it was like a few years ago that it's like we were talking about when you turn red pill, and like at each relationship, it's like towards the end of it, it's like when I would start like consuming red pill content and like starting to think about things, and then like get into another relationship, and then like the emotional haze would like come over me. It's like so powerful that it just would start like overshadowing like what I had been learning. So like going through relationships like that, and then
Well, what do you mean?
like what do you mean, the overshadowing part, or
Just
the
the whole, I didn't get the concept.
Okay, so it's like, so I've got the logical idea of MGTOW and red pill and like female nature, and like how, you know, you get screwed, you get married, screwed when you have a kid, the possibilities of that happening, and then getting into a relationship with a girl, it's like falling in love, the emotions, like that.
Well, girls like you. You know, you're doing well. Girls like you, so it's
Yeah.
a serious thing for you. Like, we walked down the beach.
Like all your logic and reasoning that you learned basically goes out the window. You're like, I'm in love now, and you just forget all the stuff you learned.
It makes it hard. Like
Yeah.
I call it like the chemical haze, really, because that's what it feels like. You know, it's like that comes in, and then it's just like, oh, it's not that bad, and just sort of like a pot, like a frog in water sort of thing. And
Well, why not go down there? Why not?
why not?
Why not just get married with one of these girls? Like,
Right, because like going.
because it's not because of red pill. It's like, what in you that makes you think maybe?
It's after the honeymoon phase sort of hits, you know, and that's when it starts, like the chemicals go down, and then I'm just like, oh yeah, I can see everything a little more clear. I can see her and what she wants. I can see why I was getting into that, and so that's usually how it would go. And like dating older girls, like in their after 30. Ever since that started happening, I started like really seeing, you know, I have a bullseye on my back sort of thing. Like I can take care of them, you know, be a good father. I can I'm what they're looking for, you know.
Yeah. You're the guy they're looking for.
Yeah, and I can
Right.
feel that pressure too, and it's just like, I didn't want that.
So that gets a lot of deception.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What are some of the main characteristics that make it that you're the kind of guy they're looking for?
He's handsome as money. What do you?
I don't know. I mean, I know he's handsome, but I say for the recording. So
Yeah.
people have
So the-
I mean, like,
Yeah.
girls come over to my place.
Yeah, you see what they look
I
at.
take good care of them, you know, like I'll take them out, have fun with them, have fun with them, you know. I like to play and like,
Nice area. good
Yeah.
shade, yoga.
yeah,
No body fat.
yeah, I'm
Minded.
pretty nice.
Mellow, intelligent. Good looking.
clean cut.
Really nice part of the country. Like really.
Yeah.
Expensive.
I've got money.
Money right.
I got money, yeah, and like, but like what's funny is oftentimes going with these girls, it's like I do low expectations from the start. Like I'll take them for a walk in the park, we'll slack line, I'll take them to the aquarium, and like I'll dress like this, you know, and I won't bring them here, and so I'm like, you know, definitely having to I'd give them very low expectations from the start, so they don't see any of that, because like then I'm trying, like this was me before, like filtering those kind of girls that are, you know, more abusive, I'd say, or maybe more likely to manipulate. So like going through several relationships with that, then this last one is like really, I think where it flipped for me, where it was like way more red pill, where I'm finally like, I'm just tired of, like I know now it's not going to happen. It was because it was kind of a traumatic breakup, not for me, but for her. And like, maybe it's the way I'm going in the relationships, like the girl's falling in love with me or something and not getting out in the right time or something. I don't know, whatever it was. This last one was kind of traumatic. And like, I think that sort of weighed on me. I was like, and seeing like, I've had a plan for the last 5 years, save money and kind of go nomad ever since I went to Southeast Asia, for many months and then came back. That was my plan. And like during that time, like I had some relationships, and it sort of like skewed me off a little bit, you know. And so now that I'm there, you know, I'm a few months away from doing it, I realize like how easily that can be taken away if I give that, you know, away in a relationship. Or like, you know, get some girl pregnant or whatever it is. Like I lose my freedom and I become blackmailable. And so that's where I'm at with that. Yeah, I think that's most of it.
Okay, I need a comment about it. I just want to say, because I think it's important, because the thing is people, even guys on this channel, right, most people don't come to summits, right? So most people never meet the other guys. So they're kind of guessing what everybody's like. And I think generally the guess is that the people are not very cool. You know what I mean? They're not doing very well, right? You know, and I would have to say, like, the guys here, everybody's doing pretty well. Like all of us together, we were walking on the beach last night. We were getting a lot of looks from the chicks, like definitely, you know. And it was like definitely a lot of hellos, a lot of looks, walking the dog, you know, smiles, questions, things like that, right? And like letting the dogs come up to us and pet. You know, we're all of us are very social. Everybody here, pretty much, you know. Like I would say, and it's like we're all like, like honestly, we're all pretty good looking too. Like this whole group. And we walk down the street, you know, and this is what people don't know. They think, and I think a lot of guys even that listen to the channel, they think, well, this must be some kind of broken guys, you know, some kind of like guys that, you know, they don't really have it going on. But the thing is this affects it's so complex to describe what we really do and why we're here. But it's like the kind of the cooler the guy you are, the more you're targeted by dishonest women. You know, like it's really true. It's really, I've talked about this before, but like with like the most famous guys, like the Brad Pitt, you know, the women that fight for him, it's the most evil ones that win.
Like
they get to the top. You know,
like Angelina, yeah.
it's just like it's like a drug dealer in the ghetto. You know, they fight, and then the top guy, that guy's, you know, seriously dangerous, right? And he's got something in the prison or whatever. The women are the same way. It's a competition for men. There's no doubt about it. And the women are just like elbowing each other in the face for a cool guy. If a dude's got a house, he lives in La Jolla, he's got a good job, he's good looking, he's fucking in killer shape, he's got a great personality, he's very, very honest, people like him, he's social, he's got nothing to hide, he's just funny, he's easygoing. I mean, the chicks are just like, oh, that's the guy. You know, and runs a big business, a good business, solid money business. They're like, that's the guy I want. So that makes everybody compete. And this is, you know, if anybody's listening and thinks this is bragging, you know, just fuck off, because this is the challenge people have, is the better you do, the more you will be, you know, these girls will come to you and you have to deal with it. And then they're ruthless. They'll lie. They'll take the condom and shove the sperm up their pussy to get pregnant. They'll do whatever it takes, you know, to trap you, right? Call the police. It's like, whereas like the lower level guys, they don't really know. The guys that are less wanted by women don't really meet the most evil women. That's my personal opinion. Is that the more you do, the better you do in life, the more chance, you know, you might get lucky, but you know, the more chance you're going to get the higher end or the bell curve, right? You got the bell curve. Those are the ones that are really going to fight. They're going to lie. They're going to do whatever it takes to get that guy. Just like somebody in sales might be, to be the top salesman. It's the same as the top salesman is to get the top guy, right? So, you know, I'm sure you've dealt with some stuff. And in Australia, we had one guy, I'm not going to say who it was, but, you know, he met like the worst kind of girl, and he just lost a fortune. He couldn't even talk about it. He never even said a word, but I knew, you know. And he lost like insane amount of money to this girl. So, I mean, like, why do we come here? It's not because we don't have anything to offer. It's not because we're weak. It's not because we're strong. It's because there's a lot of issues. To really understand this, you got to listen, and you got to come to a summit, really. You got to fucking meet people and share your fucking problems before you find out what's really going on. Why is this men's movement growing? Why are we here? We are, you know, like, this thing is serious, man. This thing is fucking serious. You know, I can't even do it justice with this speech. Everybody knows in your heart, you know, like, this fucking thing is real fucking serious. So, You know, you're here, you got your challenges. I'm sure you've had a lot of stuff. As you listen to other people, you might realize that happened to me, you know, because you're new, right? You might start saying and getting honest with yourself about stuff. But it's pretty brutal, you know. Women that lie to you, like, because it's not lying. Like when, okay, men lie to women to take off their panties, right? But every woman knows that. But women lie to men about love. They lie to, it's different. It's different. Guys just tell girls some stuff, right, to get a short-term benefit. But then after they get that benefit, guys basically lock in and support the girl forever. Women will lie for the big thing, the big lie. So when the big lie comes out, it's like it's devastating. It's like in the movie, the end of the movie, when you find out everything you thought was real is not real. It's just like the whole rug comes out from underneath your reality, and that's your emotions, your money, your children, your life, your house, your family, your friends. Like everything just gets whipped up.
Just wants something physical, but the woman wants.
Yeah, the guy just wants to mate, basically, which is a natural thing.
A woman wants all your resources.
Well, the modern system is such that that's why everybody's here, because we're sensing like there's this really dangerous force out there that can destroy us no matter who you are. And so everybody's like, fuck, I got to protect myself. I got to master this one, you know? I think that's part of it, you know? That's probably only 100th of it. I don't know. But anyway, you know, I can relate to everything everybody said. I'm sorry for interrupting, but I just couldn't help but say, because I just think of the guy listening. You have no idea who's talking, right? You just have no idea. You don't know. And it's so easy to think that, you know? There's a lot of cool guys in this, man. There's a lot of cool guys. And I think this is going to end up being a fucking cool thing we're going to do here. I don't know what it's going to be, but I think it's going to be big. I think it's going to be very fucking big. And it's very real. And I wish I could put it in better words, but I literally can't. So,
hey, thank you. It's chime time here, and we're at the SoCal Summit, and I want to say that I joined, or going MGTOW, going your own way. I started going my own way, not just in terms of women, but just in terms of like my resourcefulness as my own self and independence from society, from government, from family, from everything. And just how to be unblackmailable is really what drove me to going my own way. And I have since become more unblackmailable since joining the mix and having come to my third summit and things of that nature. So things that I'm going through right now, let's see. I got a few things. One of the funniest ones is that I haven't even told you guys yet this weekend is that I figured out that my ex-wife is, I found out when she was pregnant. She's already had the kid. But she had a kid with one of my groomsmen from the wedding.
nice.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah. So that's a cool bombshell to tell you guys. So that's one of the things I'm going through now. That'd be a cool topic to discuss because it's juicy. It is juicy. And then the other one that I'm going on. So I have three. Two is just that this whole virus outbreak thing, and I have a huge international program where I travel every month, and I'm having cancellations all over the place, and just me figuring out where I'm going and how I'm reacting and adjusting and where I'm going and things of that nature. I have so many followers. I have so many friends that have voiced concerns and want to know what I'm doing now and what I'm doing in the future and how it affects how they're investing in my program financially. So that's the second thing. And the third thing is that I'm in an open relationship, and I was telling Ronin this earlier that I've been allowed to go and fuck as many women as I want, or get involved with as many girls, but my head girl was not about seeing other people, but I'm totally on to the fact that she's seeing somebody else, and she's asked for permission to see other people as well. So that's something, like, although like I could be okay with it, it's something for me to process, and there's things that to be expected, things that are to be unexpected, known unknowns, unknown unknowns, that kind of deal. And that's where I'm at right now in going my own way.
Hey guys, it's Gabe here. This is my 5th summit. So I'm a little more mature in this Ronin man road. So the things that I'm bringing to this one, well, one is, over the past few ones and over the past few years since I kind of got out of my last relationship, and I'm trying to redefine myself and trying to figure out what I want to do. I've kind of honed in on what it was because I've been doing jiu-jitsu a lot for the past 8 years, but I'd never really looked at it as something serious. So now I've tripled down in it, but also now I'm accumulating injuries, so it's also kind of a bummer. Also, but anyways, the other thing is on one of your last videos, someone put a comment saying a lot of MGTOW guys are actually just avoidant type personalities or whatever, and he actually put a really well written out explanation of it. I don't know if you saw it. Yeah, and actually it hit me. I was like, oh, that kind of makes sense.
Anxious avoidant.
Right. Yeah. And I would actually like to explore that because I could see that a lot in my early years up until my early 20s, and then I put on the PUA kind of hat or whatever, and I would go out and try to get laid as much as I can, did this and did that, and I got into my relationships, and then coming out of it, I think I just reverted back to that, right? So I want to have some kind of relationship with women again because I feel like I'm just avoidant of it, right? There's something there that's not right. There's something that if it was it's not a conscious decision, so I want to root out whatever that is and try to figure it out. And just going back to what Rhino was saying with the chemical haze, the analogy I like to use is if you're watching a boxing match from outside the ring and you've seen the same fighter and they're going he needs to go this way, he knows to go that way, but then when you get in the ring you don't see it because you're in the ring, you're the one getting punched in the face, right? So when you're watching the fight, it's easy to analyze. Oh, just do this, just do that. Right. But when you get in there and you start getting punched in the face, it's a different thing. So, but I don't want to be the one being avoidant of getting in the ring because it's scary, right? I want to be able to consciously make that decision as opposed to me having these subconscious behaviors that are controlling my life. So that's just something else I kind of want to, that's probably the thing I want to explore while we're here over the weekend. So, yep. That's it.
Hi, good evening. My name is Walter. This is my second meetup. Initially, I didn't want to come here. I didn't felt that I need to. My initial, the first time, my reason to go to the meetup is one, it was in Japan and it's somewhere I wanted to go. And another thing was I've been listening to Ronin Man channel for quite a while now, and I wanted to meet the person behind the voice and see if he was the same person that you hear on radio. And after meeting him, I was quite impressed. He's the same guy. He's not... Yeah, he's the same guy, so which is really cool. So to me, he was more like an entertainer. And how often would you get to meet someone who put himself out there and see the person and talk to the person in person? And I think it's very rare. And last time, the reason and one thing that I came to meet him is I liked his content, and it's very relevant to my life up to this point because I'm married. I have 2 kids, 2 teenage kids, and I've been, I wouldn't say unhappy, but there's a lot of strange things that made me unhappy. For one, after I had my second child, my wife no longer wanted to have sex with me, and I didn't know why. And after listening to your content and a lot of your the stories now, and a lot of things that did not make sense in life as I'm progressing through life, in my 30s, my 40s, now my 50s, and a lot of it I didn't have answers for. And for some strange reason, for listening to you and the way you present the material, it seems very relevant and seems it's kind of filled a void. It kind of answered a lot of my questions, why things are the way they are in relationships and in different periods of our life. And since we're very similar in age, and a lot of stuff that he went through, I kind of experienced everything. So I felt some strong credibility, listening to you. That's why I wanted to meet you. And I think last time when we met, that was kind of the main thing. There's a lot of stuff that kind of irritates me or bothers me. And the one main thing was, drinking. So that's been one thing I've been wanting to try to cut down. And maybe perhaps, actually, after bringing a lot of stuff up about my relationship, perhaps my drinking, I was kind of ignoring a lot of the little signs with my relationship between me and my wife. And maybe that's why she doesn't want to sleep with me. And then now actually talking about it now, and listening back to some of your information, I go back home with a little bit more attentive of maybe looking at myself through someone else's eyes, and maybe try to look at myself through her eyes, and maybe try to understand why she is the way she is. But my relationship isn't perfect, and what I after listening to you, it says made me feel good that no matter what relationship I would have got with somebody, it would end up in the same place. And just so happened, luckily, she is a pretty decent person. I mean, it kind of strange for So I'm kind of So I'm kind of lucky in a sense, and that's why I'm here. It's just I think you bring a lot of value, and then I think a lot of people would, depending on their experiences, I've done a lot of things you've done. I wasn't an angel, definitely, but I, just want to say, thank you for the internet, for people to put your opinions out there, and I think it's a very, it's a very good thing, And the other reason why I didn't want to come is I didn't expect to see you so soon. After the last time we met, I thought that was it. Just the one time I was satisfied meeting you, and I don't need to see you again. And I said, oh, okay. But I didn't know you were going to come back to the U.S. being so close to home. And I could say, darn, I better, you say, hey, you want to come? I said, okay, might as well go. And another thing I didn't want to come is there's some promises, something we talked about to try to work on, to try to change. I think a lot of people come here to learn something, to try to change themselves. Within 6 months, I don't think I changed much, to tell you the truth. I mean, I'm still kind of processing the stuff I talked about, but, after coming back home, getting back in my same routine, doing my same old shit, I'm thinking I'm still the same old guy. I didn't change a whole lot. I didn't improve. So that's why I kind of didn't want to come here and kind of let people down and say, like you talk about change a lot. But I don't know, maybe change doesn't come in 6 months, perhaps. But I still remember it, so that's why I kind of felt embarrassed to have to come here, kind of letting you down or something, for some reason. But that's. But I'm here. I mean, it's not, to me, it's not a big deal. It's just, it's kind of fun just to hang out, and it's kind of nice just to get away from the house and just being somewhere else so you can think. Because when I'm at home, I don't have the time to just sit down like this and talk to myself. Right now, it's just, I feel like I'm talking to myself, so it helps me think things through. But at home, there's always something to do, somewhere to go. There's never time to really sit down. Like, I've just been talking, 10, 15 minutes? I don't have that time to myself when I'm at home. So it's kind of nice to just get away and, kind of like relax and then, think things through. But overall, life is, okay. Everything, things could be better, but anyway, that's it for now. Thanks.
Guess I'm Eric. This is my second summit. Went to the Japanese summit, or the Japan summit, and it was also the first time I met Ronin. Same thing, where I was just like consuming a lot of content, and then just like, wow, this is I gotta meet this guy. And I had been wanting to go back to Japan. I had gone to Japan a few years earlier, and I had been telling myself that I'm like, I want to go back to Japan. And then so it just kind of, it was just like all the stars aligned kind of thing. And I was just like, well, screw it, I'm just going to go. And so it's interesting hearing the other guys sharing, there's a few guys that shared about they went through a divorce. And back in 2016, I got married. It was a green card marriage. And I at the time, didn't realize how much she was just using me. But it was definitely the whole chemical, was overtaken, chemically kind of thing, and just fell in love kind of thing, and just could not see any of the red flags, which there was a lot. In retrospect, it was just like so many freaking red flags. But then I was in a very vulnerable state. I mean, part of why I realized that I was in such a vulnerable state was because I was still operating from a very Disneyland, Disney fairy tale, living happily ever after kind of narrative that part of me was just like still operating from that very naive, childhood place. And so it was like, she represented this person that would create that story for me, and then like getting all this love and everything would be amazing and all this stuff. And so it was just like suddenly that script that I'd been conditioned my whole life suddenly just kicked in and just took over and it was like all of my actions and decisions were based off of the script I had been following my whole life, and I think a lot of us have been programmed with that script from an early age. Yeah. And then so I'm just going through it, and it didn't matter that certain people that were like, are you sure about this? Like, maybe, are you sure you're rushing into this too much? And I'm just like, no, I've got it. It's like I'm in love or whatever bullshit, and so, and ironically enough, we met on Valentine's Day. Which is funny, hilarious, right? It was perfect. It was, Valentine's Day 2016. We met, and we were married September of 2016. And literally, like, there were so many red flags along the way, but literally the last happy day of the marriage was the wedding day. That was that was the first and only happy day. It just went downhill from there. I mean, it was like, that was the peak, and it just crashed after that. Because literally, after the wedding day, she disappeared for 4 days. And I'm like, messaging her, I'm like, what's going on? She's like, I'm busy. Well, she was busy. I mean, I think she was busy. I mean, talk about like, I'm like, my heart is like, so many mixed messages. I'm going, what the F is happening? Like, and she was like, part of what I was seduced by was she was like this Latin she was like this professional Latin dancer. She had actually, her and her partner a few years back actually won the US Open National Salsa Tournament Championship for the entire fucking country. Like, she literally was the best in 2014 or something like that. She was the best salsa dancer in all of the United States. So she was very good at seduction in terms of just like moving and dancing and do all that shit. And then on top of that, she was a Montessori school teacher, and then she had gotten like this master's degree in childhood psychology and stuff. So she was this really interesting combination of things, you know, and so that was part of why I got seduced. And so anyways, so, you know, part of why I rushed forward was just like, oh, you know, if, you know, and I think there was some part of me was like, well, if I help and save her in this way of getting the green card, then she will always love me. And I realized that's the agreement that I had made with myself at the time. I didn't realize that was what I was saying to myself. But in retrospect, I see that that's what I did. I was like, if I save her like this, she will never stop loving me. And so then I'm willing to just like risk it all kind of thing. And I think a lot of guys fall into situations like that. They're like, if I sacrifice myself like this for this woman, she will never stop loving me. And I think a lot of guys fall into that. And I think that's a lot. Yeah. And but this was so clear cut. It was like, if I don't marry her, she could get deported and then her whole life here is gone and all this shit, you know? So it was very cut and dry, clear cut like that. And then, but then it just went downhill, and we were married for like I filed for separation at like the following December. So what was that? September, October, November, December. Yeah, so 15 months or something like that, 16 months. Yeah, so just a little over a year. But it was, and going back to like what led me to the whole red pill and MGTOW and everything, it was like all of my paradigms about women, and like I realized that I had a really deep, strong, profound paradigm of like trusting women and believing women. And it was so strong that like the things I was experiencing and the actions she was taking was so much flying in the face of my entire paradigm. I kept resisting, kept trying to rationalize to myself that no, she's not actually lying. It means something else. It means something else. So it's like I just spent so much time just struggling, resisting, accepting the blatant truth and facts that were hitting me in the head every fucking day of like, she's doing this. I'm like, it must mean something else. But then it was like this nonstop level of just almost on a daily basis of abandonment, emotional abandonment, physical abandonment, and like just being psychologically, emotionally abused, like day after day after day after day. It was just like, it got to but then I kept holding on to this idea of like, but if I divorce her and leave her, then she's deported, and then like I can't do that because then I commit, and so it was like this huge struggle. So it's like I kept it. Yeah, it took me so like I said, I mean, luckily I was able to finally get up the courage to finally just do it. A little over a year later, but that whole 14 months, 15 months or whatever, it was just pure mental torture, psychological, emotional torture. And then it was only once I came across Ronin's content that some of the stuff that it was happening, I'm like, oh fuck, like this is actually making sense. And it's like, but there was still a part of me that didn't want to believe it, and it was only when I finally just committed to ending the relationship and just saying, fuck it. I think that was the moment where it finally was like acceptance, but there was still like a intense amount of resistance to the truth, because I was like, I didn't want this to be true because it was just too devastating, because I'm like, everything I'd brought up to believe is all fucking lies, and I was just like, and it sucked, and it was like having a dream get destroyed. It's like my whole life, it's like, and I think a lot of people with their relationship to romance and the relationship to the idea of relationships with women and stuff, they have this very novel story that they were trained to believe their whole lives, and then to suddenly discover that it's mostly bullshit. That's a hard pill to swallow, And so I think there was a long period of just being resisting, and I finally came out of it. And then I probably spent at least a good year afterwards just totally in just depression and just barely could get myself out of bed because it was like all my hopes and dreams. I had this whole vision for my life and having a family with her and all this shit. And it was just like, it was all just destroyed. And I was left with feeling like, well, what do I have now? It's like, I have nothing now. And all my ideals are destroyed too. It was like the relationship plus my paradigm of ideals of relationships themselves were all destroyed at the same time, you know? So it's taken a while for me to process through all that. And so, you know, and I'm recovering also in terms of just like financially and stuff too. I mean, obviously, you know, there's always money involved with marriage and stuff. I mean, luckily I didn't have a kid with her, so I was able to walk away from it. And the weirdest part was my friend who we were all staying with, I've got all these crazy stories, but now she turned out she's now married. She remarried. So my ex now remarried to my female friend who was our wedding planner. And now the two of them are married. And this female friend, wedding planner, she was the straightest, most hetero woman I'd ever known. And now she's married to my ex-wife, which is, so it's like fucking bizarre. You know, it's like, I can't make this shit up, you know? And I don't know. So it's just weird. It's just a lot of weird shit. So in the end, that's the thing. That was the other, it was actually a relief too, because then it was also like, I was like, oh, if she wasn't going to get it from me, she was going to get it from somebody. You know, it's like she needs her green card. If I don't get it for her, she's just going to find somebody else. And that's the other thing I realized. I was like, fuck, I just happened to be at the right place at the right time for her. Had I been any other guy, she just would have married that guy. That's what I've, you know, as harsh as that is, I finally have accepted that, like, wow, she just needed some guy that would be willing to sign up for what she needs. And that's it, you know? So, and I'm just like, fuck, yeah. So anyway, that's kind of my transition into fully going into this. And now I'm just like, I'm in the process of kind of building a new paradigm, you know? And I think listening to all this content has really helped me, is in my process of building that new paradigm. And I'm not totally sure, and that's part of also why I'm here, is just to kind of, you know, we're like sharing each other's stories and ideas and stuff, and to help kind of build a new paradigm to fall, you know, to go through life with now. Because it's like, okay, well, that old paradigm is dead, you know, and I'm not sure if I have a clear one yet. I mean, right now I've decided that I'm like, well, between now and my next birthday, I'm not going to be involved with any women whatsoever, and I'm just going to focus on my health and just like, you know, because a lot of things went to shit during the year that I was totally depressed and totally out of it. So now I'm kind of like picking up the pieces, and I'm in the process of rebuilding myself, you know, like my financially, everything just got all fucked up and stuff. So I'm just like rebuilding, but, you know, so I'm like being distracted by women right now is like, I'm like, that's the last thing I need to have right now. So yeah. And, yeah, so that's kind of where I'm at. And so just want to share some other things that I've been playing around with, other ideas of things to do, and kind of getting a clear idea of what to do next for the rest of 2020, you know, and try to like share some ideas, throw it out with the rest of you guys, and just kind of hone in on my next 12-month plan strategy, you know, and be like, okay, I got a strategy. Let me share it with you guys. Does this sound like completely crazy, or is there a better way I should probably be doing this? Or am I fooling myself? You know, because that's also, I've gotten into a pattern before where I fell into a fantasy, and that relationship, that marriage, it turned out that it was a total fantasy. And I'm just like, so I'm being very cautious now about like not falling into other fantasies, you know, where I've, you know, wishful thinking, and I'm thinking, I'm gonna like, oh, I have this plan. But in reality, it's like, it's almost doomed to fail kind of plan. And, you know, it's like, I want to make sure that I don't fall into any more of those situations where I get myself into doomed to fail plans, but then I've fooled myself into believing it's going to work. you know. So that's part of also why I'm here.
All right, hey, Ronin. I good to hear everybody. It's there was a couple more guys that were here, and then there's one more guy coming tonight, you know, and I just listening to everybody share. It's interesting. I was thinking about a lot of things. There's so many angles to look at it. I'm just going to share a few thoughts I had. Like one of them was, I think I got red pilled, a completely different way. Because the thing that red pilled me the most is that I had this kind of fantasy, I guess, like you were saying, fantasies about women, and that they were like just very loving and supportive, kind of that pretty much all the mistakes that are made in relationships are guys, you know, like women are kind of always there for you, but we take them for granted and we cheat on them or don't take the time to appreciate them. And so that if we, you know, it's kind of our fault, like they're basically good, just not great, but they're just basically good and sitting there. And then it's kind of up to us to like recognize that and be good to them. And then of course they're going to be good to us because they're basically good, you know, like that's kind of the way I was raised, you know. But what was the difficult thing for me was, is that I was pretty, like I would have to say, quite good at seducing women. And so, or women want to seduce me. I don't know what it is. But either way, it's easy, like pretty easy for me to get girls' clothes off. And they seem pretty happy about it. So I remember when they would do that, it wasn't that they were not nice to me. So it's not like, you know, I had struggles. I mean, definitely girls have fucked me over big time. But I would have to say that's still a minority. Like a lot of women were there for me. Like when I started businesses, they would, you know, we'd be down at the legal offices talking to the lawyer, trying to figure out how to set up the company. They would be doing research for me. They'd be like running contracts around. If I needed to borrow some money to pay salary for a couple of guys, the girl would just go to the ATM and give me the money, and I would pay salary. If we needed to raise, one time we had to raise $160,000 from 5 o'clock at night until 9 in the morning in China from nothing, you know. And the girl I was with talked to all her friends and family, and together we got $160,000 in the bank by 9 in the morning. And that was a miracle, you know. So the girls, in a sense, they were very good to me. I know when girls like buy me clothes, they always fit. They always look good. It's like they've always thought about it. You know what I mean? They've taken the time. They know what my size is. You know, whereas I'll buy something that won't fit, you know, just not as good at it, you know, they'll buy stuff that always fits me. And I notice these things. I'm like, wow, how did she know that? Like she must have really thought about it to get this shirt that just fits perfectly. It's almost the kind of shirt I would, you know, I would want, but not even know I want, the kind of thing, you know. So that touches me, that kind of stuff, you know, that make stuff for me or think of something for me. So girls did a lot of nice things for me. So the idea of, I think MGTOW hates women is definitely not the true in my case. And so that was good. And also I like sex and I'm open-minded. So, and girls tend to roll with that. And so I like that and they like that. It's fine. Everything's fine. I think what really got me was something a little different. It was like, I had these ideas about the way they were. And so, how do you describe this? It's like, if they could be good to me, right? Like the women that did the things I just talked about. A lot of those women were in relationships or married to some other guy, right? You know, and then they would be doing these nice, but I wouldn't know it at the beginning. Like a lot of times, guys will say, "Oh, you slept with a married woman." A lot of times, you don't even know they're married. They don't tell you they're married. A girl doesn't say, "Hey, I'm married. Are you a bad guy? Are you gonna fuck me?" It's like, no. They just say, "Hey, you know, what are you doing?" Blah blah blah. Next thing you know, you've already slept together a couple times or whatever, and then they're like, "Oh, you know, I have this guy," and they always lie. They always say, "We haven't had sex in 7 years. You know, he can't get a hard on. He moved out. He's got another wife. He's got kids to somebody else. You know, he's gay." Yeah, like we never even had sex after the marriage, you know, all kinds of stuff women tell me. And so I would believe it. I'd be like, well, of course, you know, if you're with somebody you hate, you're going to look for something else. That's human. You have a right to do that, right? If you hate your job, you're going to go look for another job, right? It's fair enough, right? But then there was some point where I kind of realized, like, oh yeah, it was a couple of things. I remember this. Okay, so this one girl, she, I shaved her pussy, right? And so then she was married, and then she came over to my house. It was my birthday or something. She was gonna take me to Disneyland, and we were gonna go. So I had a rule; they had to have sex every day. So she would come over, we had sex, and then we went to go to Disneyland. And then she said, I said, oh yeah, you know, your pussy's so hot, and then this and that. And she goes, yeah, my husband didn't even notice the first time we had sex. And she had told me they had never had sex since the kids were born. And I was like super bummed out because I actually believed her, you know. And she's like, why are you so bummed out? It's your birthday, we're going to Disneyland. And I was like totally bummed out. I was like, well, you told me that you didn't have sex with your husband, you know? And she's like, oh. Yeah, like, she was like, oh, you know. And it's just, I was super bummed out. I actually was thinking, this is a sweet girl, you know, and everything. And she was just like completely lying. And that kind of thing. So it wasn't if they did something bad to me. It was just that it shattered their, you know, what they were in general. You know, if somebody's really nice to you, you say somebody gives you money, and then you say, you know, well, you must be working really hard. She says, no, I'm ripping off the bank. You know, I'm the accountant. I just steal money and give it to you. You know, then you'd be like, oh, wait a second, that's different than just working hard and giving me money. You know, it was that kind of thing. I was like, oh, what, you know, because I thought she didn't have to lie to me. I didn't ask her to lie to me, you know, but she would just, you know, girls would just lie. And then the other thing that really got me shattered on stuff was, and again, she was a sweet girl. I mean, this girl's super pretty, right? Super huge, right? Like, really, this girl was super attractive. And that was partly why, like, it was hard to get away from her. Like, she was the girl I had the most sex with per day of all girls of all. She was the one, she was just like a sex doll. Like, to me, she was just literally, and she loved it, and she wanted always more. Every time we finished, she would always try to soap me up to do it again. I'm like, no more, please, no. I'm sore. I got to go home. I'm tired. Yeah, she would work you until you were just completely, that was her strategy, is just to drain you totally until you were just completely on the ground. And she's like, okay, my job is done here. And then go home, you know. Basically, that was the way she thought. Yeah, and really, and I was like, you know, yeah, and it was enjoyable and everything, but it was like that kind of thing. And there was just so many married women that would lie to me. They would end up being married, and then we would have really dirty sex, you know. And like, for example, the other thing that did it, I talked about this in another video, but was I would have a girl who's super innocent. Let's say she's like almost a virgin. She's a kindergarten teacher, and I would take her out, and then the second time we had sex, it would be like a threesome with another girl, and everything. I could tell it was all new to her. Like, I know girls, like, I could tell. She was like super innocent, but she was just open. She was just like, let's do new stuff. And that sounds great, right? You're like, oh man, that's awesome, right? A sweet girl, innocent, single. She's like super innocent, but my brain's like, whoa, risky. Like, because it's because you realize how fake it all is. Like, I'm talking about a girl who's raised by a very conservative family, a super conservative girl, that it was almost impossible to seduce her the first time. And then once I did, the second time, she's like fully licking pussy. We're just fucking another girl. It's like insane, right? And I'm like, I just realized it was all so fake, women's chastity. And like, it was all a construct in my own mind. Because, you know, you think you're going to get an innocent girl. And again, I don't mean anything. Like, I have tons of my friends that are girls listening to this podcast. And I love women. It's just that where I'm coming from is like, a man's mind is he thinks these things are real. Like, some girls are good, some girls are bad. Just like girls have the bad boy, you know, that's what girls love, the bad boy. So girls do the exact same thing. They got the bad boy and they got the good guy, right? I'm the bad boy, right? And so they do the same thing we do. So, but for us, we have this idea that there's these innocent girls from this. But in 2 days, they can be just totally changed. And once a girl's opened up, trust me, they never go back. You know, once you've opened a girl, like once you've really opened her mind, she's a completely different person from then on. It can never, the flower never goes back in, you know.
Right.
The flower now is going to go, and you know it's on its way. So I don't know. I just felt it sounds dumb, but from where I was coming from, that really bummed me out. Like, even though I'm like, it was awesome as far as sex goes, you know, as far as like fantasy goes, as far as like, you know, my friends would be like, oh my God, no way with her, no way. But then I would be bummed out. Like, I would be bummed out. And the other thing that really got me red pilled was I had this girl, and I just gave her, she was just the type that I want to have sex with all the time. And she loved it all the time. And I did her like a million times one day. And on the way home, she was so horny. She told me later she fucked the taxi driver. Yeah.
Like when?
On the way home.
On
the way home from my house.
After you?
I fucked her 5 times. And then she fucked the taxi on the way home. Yeah. Yeah. No, it wasn't that she, I wasn't jealous.
I had a girl like that.
No, it wasn't that. It was just like I realized that the more you open them up, the more, like, a woman's sexuality can never be stopped. It's not like ours. Guy's sexuality, you fuck a guy a couple times, he's basically done.
Right.
He's going to sleep. You know, he's finished. But if you really fire a girl up, if you really get her rocking where her like muscles are contracting and she's just losing her mind, you know what I mean? Like I often say, when the foam is like rolling down your balls, you know, the white foam's just like rolling down, you're like dripping out, you're like, oh my God, I created a monster. And I realized that it was you can't win, because if you fuck a girl really badly, then she might be pretty true to you. But if you really open her up, then she's like this insatiable beast in a way.
You can't you'll never satisfy her.
You can't. One man cannot. No, it's impossible.
Exactly.
And so it's really sad because, you know, I realized the best way to do it is just a half-ass one is the best way to just give them half-ass fucks. Like, don't even let yourself shine at all. Just like give them a half-ass. And it was just like, I realized you can't win either way. You can't win. Like, you can't win if they don't want you. You can't win if they do want you, because you turn them on too much. And then they just do the most craziest things. Like, they will, once you've opened them up, they will literally do anything.
Yeah, I have a question.
Literally anything. Like anything that is physically possible. Like, I'll try that.
Fuck the dog.
Yeah, whatever, I'll do it. You know, call them up right here, you know. And so the thing is for me, this stuff was disturbing, because I realized, like, how could you be married to somebody like that? You know, because it's like, there's no way, you know, like there's the whole paradigm of relationships is broken if you understand women. Like, you just can't win, because if you have a super frigid one, she might stay with you, right? You know, it's possible. But who wants that?
It almost sounds like
Yeah.
you came from the opposite end of the spectrum in terms of the guys were married and they were all miserable, and then you were coming from.
I think
another
I did.
end.
Yeah.
So so it's like you saw it from
But it's
the
the
other
same.
angle.
It's the same thing. It bummed me out just as much, because I don't enjoy the fact that they were married. That doesn't turn me on. Like, once I find it out, it's interesting and I roll with it. But it's not like I want to do it. I don't want to crush people. I don't want to destroy people. Like, that's not my desire. Personally, that's not, everybody's got their thing, like a personality. Like, when I do sports, I don't even do it to win. I do it to do my best. It's true. That's the way I play. I don't care if I win the golf. It's like that. Did you see that golf game where the guy, he gets the one, he hits it in the water, and he wants to get the perfect shot on the green. He hits like 200 times in the water. He loses the tournament because he could just take a drop on the other side. Which one? Tin cup. I'm that guy. I'm just like that guy. I will sit there and just try to get it perfect, and everybody's gone home, and I get it right where I want. I'm like, yes, you know, because I just don't care about the tournament. I just care about, like, the perfection of it, you know. I'm like, I knew I could do that. I got it right there, you know. And so, you know, that's the way my brain thinks. So, like, you know, it's like, it wasn't to do, and it was just the enjoyment of everything, that the moment that I was in. And her feelings and emotions in her eyes, and the vibe that we have, and the chemistry, and moving forward, and just grinding her up, and just getting her going, and then turning her, just getting her, and vibing with her, and just amping it up, and then just, you know, that is what I get off on, but not the kind of destroying, you know, ha ha ha. That doesn't. I don't understand that. So but a lot of women are like that. They like to destroy. Well, there's 4 basic personality types. So 25% of people are that type. They like to they want the competitors to kiss their feet, get on your fucking knees and kiss my feet. That type, and that there's nothing wrong with that. It's just that it's not me at all. It's not me. So I was just like, I don't get off on that. So I was just like, and then I realized that these married ones, I can't really marry them really, like if I wanted to get married back then or whatever, it was like what was I going to do? I was the outside guy. As soon as I went with them, she would be looking for another outside guy. I would no longer be, you're not the outside guy. You're not the character you're playing or whatever the role you're playing. It doesn't last forever. Right. And so I just realized it's just this huge, and I could see because women are very honest with me. And so they would tell me stuff that they won't tell most guys. And so a lot of the stuff I know about women was just directly told to me by women.
Can I say one?
Yeah.
About the outside guy thing.
Yeah. Just say.
What you're just saying, the outside guy. So I think that is true. Like the women seem to be most honest with the outside guy. A lot of things. And actually, as you're saying all this, I realize that going back, one of the best relationships I had was with a woman who was in the process of getting a divorce,
right.
And she picked me up, and this was when I was in South America, and then and of course it was the same thing where she's like totally opened all kinds of kinky crazy shit, and like that was, and even till this day she still calls me, and she lives in New York right now, and she was like the most committed and most like into me than anyone else, and it was like because I was the outside guy.
You were that role, and then as soon as you as a man you say, okay, this is good, but I want to go to the more serious role, then you're finished.
Yeah, all the kinky stuff, all the great spicy
all
stuff, it all just ends.
All the honesty, all the connection.
So you became the mistress. So you're on the opposite end, like a guy.
The mistress.
Yeah, you became mistress. You have a wife and you have a mistress that I go to. I'm more honest and open with the mistress than my wife. So I have someone. So
maybe we're called a mistress.
But I think
I'm just using it as an analogy because
it works for both sexes. Yes. A lot of these things. That's the thing. The stuff we're talking about, the women can talk about it too. A lot of it. Yeah. But it's like for me, I just realized like, what is the point of all this? Like you can't like really win. I mean, you can enjoy them and they're awesome and all that, but it's like you can't go really. You just can't go any farther, like because it's just not the way the fucking world works. Right. Like I want the world to be different. Like I would love if you could just fall in love with a woman and you could vibe with her and sexually be really hot, and then you could just commit to each other. Little house in the prairie, you fucking build a house together, you got some chickens or whatever the fuck it is, internet company, and you do it together, and you got little
family and everything's great.
And everything's great.
That's what I thought.
Yeah. Like I see a house sometimes and I'll think that's a perfect house to raise a kid. So that's me. Like that's what I would want. But it's just like I see the impossibility of it every time I meet a woman, because they'll like me and tell me stuff, but they don't realize that they're kind of destroying it as they tell me, because they're just telling me like it's just like I just hear it. I'm like. So I got red pilled. This is the impossibility of the whole thing, even though they were very nice to me, and the ones that did screw me over, it wasn't so bad, or it didn't affect me that much.
When you say males and females are identical, they're the same.
Oh, we do the same thing.
We do the same thing. We're all the same.
No, I'm not saying that. No,
but not in all aspects.
Men are not the same. I mean, we like I said, we sexually, if some woman satisfies us, we're done. Like we're good.
So
like the Japanese,
as more committed.
The Japanese women, like the old Japanese women, the old Japanese tradition, they say basically the old lady will say, drain the man's balls all the time, bring him food, and everything's going to be fine. Basically.
Empty balls, full stomach.
Just basically, yeah. That's basically what they say, That's basically what the old Japanese woman will tell the guy. And that was the Japanese women's mindset. And it's a very powerful mindset.
That's very wise.
And that's why guys marry Japanese women very quickly, because they're just like, this works. Like even today, in today's world, this works. The guys are like, yes, you know, anytime there's a marriage problem, just fuck him more, and it's going to be fine. You know, the whole thing will be solved.
So,
you know,
It's actually really
the
wise.
Japanese
Yeah,
are more,
yeah.
more faithful than
It's-
that.
well, no, they're going to drain him, but then that doesn't mean they're faithful.
Oh, the female, but the
Yeah.
male will be.
Well, they're
The-
faithful.
the male will be happy.
The male will be happy. Right?
Yeah.
The male will
There's
be
two different kinds of
happy.
He
faith.
just goes to work, you know.
Yeah, he just goes, yeah.
So
Just comes home.
I don't know, you guys. I don't know. I mean, the thing is, I like to help people. So when I hear the stories, I can help, and I've seen it and helped, and so that's why I'm here, you know. And also, I would say on the Unblackmailable with the kid thing, is that the thing about being unblackmailable is it's a very deep concept. So I can't really explain it all here because a lot of it has to do with being physically fit. If you're physically fit, if you're physically healthy, if you don't need any drugs, if you don't need any insulin, you don't need anything, you can just run off into the wilderness if you have skills and you can take care of yourself. You don't need anybody, you don't need anything, and you can survive a hard period like right now with coronavirus. You know, you have a big leg up if you physically are unblackmailable as much as possible, right? And so it's the ability, you're not so influenced. You're not dependent on anything, and you're not so influenced by things because your body is very strong. So a lot of it is being physically strong, a lot is mentally strong, and then not being financially in a bad situation where you know you can't get out, where you're fucked. Like they can just fuck you over, and you're done. You know, so that's all unblackmailable. But I think some people misunderstand this because the thing is if you misunderstand it, you might think, well, that means I want to live up in the mountains or something. But that's not at all what it is. Because it's about being intertwined in life and being social. It's about friends. And because your health is directly related to how many friends you have. If you look at old people, it's more important than what you eat even. It's if you have friends and support group and people that care about you, you are healthier, you know. So it's very important to be social. It's very important to be connected to other human beings. It's very important to be in touch with yourself and share if you want to be healthy. And that makes you unblackmailable because then you're like pretty good. You're pretty solid. So when something comes along, you can handle it. So when the fear from all the right things going on right now is if you're pretty good, you will feel fear. You will have feelings, but you're not going to be like sucked into this vortex where you know you just start being mean to people and stealing things, and you know you have a balance, you know, kind of life. So that's good. But it's also about knowing where you're choosing to be blackmailable. Because, you know, it's if you want a child, okay, you have to be blackmailable to some level. You know, it's a necessary, like in a movie, a cop that's married, let's say, he's blackmailable because they'll kidnap his wife, you know, and children in the movie, right? And so he's very blackmailable because he has a kid and children in the movie, right? And they're like, we got your kids, you know, give us this money or do this, you know. So the thing is, you have to choose. And I think that you're going to make some exception in your life where you're going to say, okay, I choose to be blackmailable on this thing because I know there's no other way to get it. I have to be blackmailable in order to get this thing that I want, you know, without becoming somebody I don't want to be. I'm not going to go into the details on that, but you could get the thing you want a more ruthless way, but then you have to become somebody that you don't want to be. So how do you stay who you are, a loving, kind person, in touch with yourself, and very unblackmailable on almost every area, but then you choose is that you're going to make an exception, you know, for a child, for example. So I think that's the balance. So it's not about, oh my God, he's blackmailable in this one thing. It's like, well, you make a choice. You make a choice, right? And it could be many, many things, right? You could have a friend who could fuck you over, right? You are a little bit blackmailable by having friends, a little bit, because they could hurt you, right? Mm-hmm. You know, they could steal from you. But you think, okay, but friendship is more important, and the risk of that as you get more mature and you make better decisions, this will happen less, and the value you'll get from those friends is more than the risk from having those friends. So it's like it's this delicate balance of life, you know, where you make a better life and you have to choose and pick, and you have to really honestly be really honest with yourself about where you're going. And there are times when you have to learn to snap out of it and say, you know, for example, you might choose at some point to say, you know what? I'm not able to be the father I want, and so I'm going to fucking leave, no matter how painful it is. I'm going to walk away from this thing that I chose to be blackmailable. You know, you might choose to do that too, because you get to the point where you start to balance and you start to look at all the details, and as much as you care, you realize that it's not possible to have what you want. You know, it's just not there because of the courts, because of something. And you might initially choose to be blackmailable, and then you might finally say at some point, I'm going to break the strongest bond I have in my entire life, because it's not worth it. And it doesn't help the other person. You know, that's the other thing. Sometimes a man can come into a woman's life and then the kid's torn between two houses. Sometimes it's not good, right? Depending on the man's circumstances and her circumstances and all that, right? So, you know, it's like, it's dealing with these very difficult, delicate decisions, and at the same time is keeping yourself the man that you want to be, you know? And that's the difficult thing. That's the incredible difficult thing about it. It's very simple just to be unblackmailable totally. Fuck, don't have any friends, live in the fucking cabin, cut down your own wood, use the stream water, you know. But it's like, you're not going to get the way for most people, you're going to be the Unabomber, you know. And you don't want to be that. You know, you want to be like a guy. To me, I think Unblackmailable is about striding through the world with ease. You know, you're just striding through. You're just striding through into new worlds. And hey, here's Japan. Let's start a business. Let's do this. Friends, girls, you know, money. Let's make money. Let's save money. You're just striding into this. Here's a party. A bunch of rich people, successful people. I'm going to walk in here. I feel confident. I can talk to these people. I belong here. You know. And then going and then helping people and doing all these things. And it's like about striding and having the confidence and growing and all that stuff. And it's all encapsulated in that concept, you know. But you know, that thing about choosing to be blackmailable on a certain topic. But there are different ways to do it. And I've hesitated to do this one video, and I don't know if I'll ever do it, but it's called Father Game. And it's it's a powerful one. So I've never talked about this one publicly, but there are things that you can do, and there are different ways. There are new paradigms and ways of looking at getting things that you would never even imagine that are out there by very, you know, there's ideas out there that can give you ideas that will help you to open up your mind to getting things a different way, in a different manner, at a higher level, with more, you know, and this and that. So I won't go into details on this. But anyway, there's hope. There's things you can get. And if you feel like, it's like, I can't, you know, it's like, I want to be this, but I can't because this secret thing. It's about just talking about, okay, here's the thing. You know, like you said, you know, here's my fucking weakness. Why I can't do what you guys do, basically, you know. But then it's like, no, you can, you know. And actually, that's a very honest thing to say. Because instead, it's very easy just to go into the program. Mm-hmm. You know, it's like, oh, I'm MGTOW. Baby, let's get married. Here's your ring, baby. You know, I love you forever. You just go from this to this, right? So you don't want to do that too many times. Every time you do that, it's just the black to the white. You want to come back and say, okay, what am I missing? Why did I do that? What was my fundamental misunderstanding? I did not understand something. Because this just doesn't make any sense. But you got to be easy on yourself too. You got to say, what was it about it? How did I fall into this vortex of emotion? Because I have that too. And like I said, the Little House on the Prairie, that still is my deepest desire. You know, to have a hot young girl. 22 is my perfect age. I love girls at 22. They're very open-minded. They're fresh. They're just they're adults. They're very vivacious. They're looking for new things, and it's just a perfect age. You know, it's a great age, you know, to get into a series, if you have a series. So, you know, like I would love to have a relationship where I had a hot girl, nice rack, and have kids, you know, and have like the Little House on the Prairie. But the problem is it explodes right after that. So, you know, it's like, that's the thing, you know, the tragedy of life. Right. It's just such a tragedy.
Start out as the outside guy,
yeah.
And eventually you'll be...
Well, this wouldn't be the outside guy. This would be a different thing. This would be...
Well, this is like, as soon as you get what you want, it's over.
It's over. And then she's going to be looking for a new
That's
outside
it.
guy.
So as soon as you get the house and the kids, it's done.
Well, but the thing is what you have to learn is to appreciate every day.
Yes.
You've just, you seduce a hot girl. If you ever see her again, you're like,
Neat.
you're just, okay, cool. I had this great experience, That's what enjoying every day is about, just being in the moment, right? So anyway, that's a lot of stuff there. But you guys, let's work on, I heard everybody what you said. So now we've all heard each other. We all kind of know where each other's coming from, where we're, what our weaknesses are, what we want to work on. So let's just work on that over the weekend. Let's go see the sunset. It's by the way, it's a beautiful day here in La Jolla. If you guys could see the sun coming in the windows, fucking beautiful houses, birds outside, there's grass. We're like, 100 meters from the ocean?
Yeah, sure.
Something like that, 100 meters, maybe 150 meters. Yeah, it's just fucking beautiful, man. So yeah, life's good, Life's good. All right, later, guys.